Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for coming out today on a Tuesday. I'm so happy to see all of you, and we are recording this. It's not streaming live, but we are recording it for anybody who has missed it or is missing it. So thank you so much for coming to hear about our amazing, amazing Tanzania trip. I'm going to pass the microphone after I introduce myself, and then the way that it's going to go tonight is Gino has prepared a bunch of wonderful pictures. We're going to do it section by section, so we'll look at some pictures. Maybe we'll talk about some of those pictures, and then you can ask us questions, and then we'll go on to the next set of pictures. Sound okay? Great. So I'm Sue Yan Kuhn, for those of you who don't know me, and this is my husband, Dave. I was thrilled to go on this trip, and I can tell you, I could talk for hours about this, but I won't. But it's going to be amazing, and I hope you enjoy it.
Just to repeat, I'm Dave Kuhn, her husband.
And I'm Curtis Brower, Raheem's husband.
I'm Margot, and I'm nobody's husband. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Raheem Penjwani. I was the group leader, if you will call it, and I was glad that I was able to take such an awesome and diverse group to Tanzania. And you guys are going to see all the pictures and have fun.
Hey, my name's Barbara Neuer, and I sort of went along as the kind of the tail end of your group, because I know you had collected funds, and they did some wonderful shopping and helped two very interesting group of people.
And of course, there's our wonderful Gino, who also went. We can't say enough about Gino. Welcome to Tanzania.
So this is at the first place we stayed in the area around Arusha, the Mount Meru Game Lodge, and they have, it's not quite a zoo, but it's a wild reserve. These animals are on the grounds. The monkeys you saw are jumping on the trees, going overhead of you while you're eating breakfast. You can see a monkey who stole the roll from Margot's plate.
It was a very gutsy monkey. So there were colobus monkeys, and anybody remember what these are called? Vervet and black-handed monkeys. And Gino waited several days to see these monkeys.
This picture here, we were getting ready to leave, and I was talking to one of the attendants, and I hear Suyin and Dave, they keep saying, Gino, Gino. I'm like, why are they bugging me? I'm trying to get this settled with this man.
This was after 2 days of complaining she hadn't seen a monkey. Just saying.
Gino, Gino, and I'm like, and I turn, they go, the monkey, and the monkey was sitting on the table. This is right before he stole Margot's bread. Or did you give it to him? So I finally got to see the monkeys. What was the name of the place we stayed at? Mount Meru, but they were known for monkeys coming on the grounds. It was beautiful. And all of the animals that I showed were there on the grounds there at that hotel.
So this is our first hotel in Arusha before we started the safari.
And I think we all saw an animal that none of us have ever seen in a zoo. Have you ever heard of a zonkey? A zebra and a donkey that got together.
so this place is called the Step by Step Learning Center. So this place is owned and operated by a woman. It's a family-owned business. She started this about 20 years ago. She did it because she had a daughter that was autistic and she couldn't get care anywhere in Tanzania. She moved from Uganda to Tanzania for a transfer. She quit her job. She was a chemist, and she wanted to help the kids, so she started a small operation. This is not funded by the government. It's all her work. She's very industrious, very strong woman with a lot of drive and ambition. Her daughter is now 38 years old, and she's in the school. This is some pictures of her daughter in there. She's now learning 4th grade, I want to say, or 5th grade. She didn't want to learn in the beginning. She just started interest about 5 years ago. But anyways, this is not just for autistic kids, it's for people with all kinds of central nervous system disorders and diseases. So there's wheelchair-bound kids, and all this enterprise is based on donations and the handouts she gets from different people that visit her. She's not online. It's very local, very far tucked away. She has a little farm on site where she does teach the kids farming. They grow citrus. They have 2 cows that they get milk from. They had a chicken coop, but they stopped during the pandemic and then haven't started it back up. They do have bees. What else did they have? And they were looking for an oven so she could start a bakery, and somebody in here was able to give that to them. So Yan and Dave gave the donation of oven so they could start their own bakery. So they're going to be able to supply cakes and rolls to the village. They have bread everywhere, but they don't have cakes and rolls. So she said, this is a demand that I want to fill. So it was very cool. We, along with the center and our company and Margot and Dave, we were able to sponsor 4 kids for a whole year. We did some really great things at that place. 4 kids, school supplies, uniforms, transportation to and from home, and 1 nutritious meal for lunch every day for a whole year. That's what we were able to do. Orphanage. All right. Yeah. Yes, go ahead.
How did you find this remotely? Oh, sorry. How did you find this remote lady? How did you even, when she wasn't online?
Yeah, we have ground operators that we work very closely with. So I knew a couple of people at the tourism ministry, and I asked around and got some people to go do some scouting, saying, go find me the remotest people that have no government assistance. And that's how we were able to find them.
I think the other important thing that Raheem made sure of is he wanted people to go out and make sure that we weren't going to find somebody who would take advantage of money coming in from the States, and find a true place where the need could be met and people could be taken care of. So it was very important job that Raheem took.
And the other thing that impressed me about this step-by-step school is that up to now they had relied 100% on donations. And she knew, she's a visionary, she knows that she needs to be self-sustainable. And so that's why they renovated the kitchen so that eventually it'd be a catering and a restaurant place, so that people could come in for coffee or their visitors. And they also have little shop on site of things that they had made, handmade, there to sell to support their school.
And the kids are being taught the skills so that they can make a little bit of money and help contribute for both a sense of self-worth, a means to develop their own hand-eye coordination and skills as part of society. So her vision is, for instance, the crafts that they sell, some of them are helps made by the kids, not all of them, but some of them. You want to talk about how you found the orphanage first, or no? Oh, what? So, Margaret? Okay. So the orphanage is run by an elderly gentleman and his wife. They started it, I don't remember, yeah, decades ago, I think, yeah, a pastor and his wife, he sees this as his calling. I think he's had, what, 28 kids or so? Right.
They've been living in their house. The pastor is 84 years old, the wife is 82. All they have done is taken in kids from the street. And again, this is not funded by the government. They're registered as an orphanage with the government. The government of Tanzania doesn't really have a lot of money to give away to different things. And you have, so this orphanage, the 20, out of the 28 kids, 27 are now adults. They're all in trade and technical schools, and one is in university. So they have all the grown-up ones. Oh, sorry, 27. Sorry, 7 of those. Not 27. 7 of those. About 20 are still in the house. I think about 14 boys and about 8 girls still there. Those were their rooms. If you can see the beds, all the girls sleep in one room and all the boys are in the other room. Same thing, these guys have pretty much nothing to their name, the pastor and his wife. But they are doing their best to take care of the kids. What we were able to do for them, since they don't have a bank account or anything like that, we were able to raise money. We went and bought everything locally. I had asked Gino and Margot and you guys, the Universal Spirit Center, to not buy anything here. The purpose of that was we wanted to make local impact. So when we went there, we bought everything locally so we could support the local farmers, the local store owners. And so we tried to keep everything as organic as possible. And we were able to do that. We believe got almost a year's worth of supply of food, stationery, hygiene products. They had a whole list of things that they asked for. And we also handed them about $500 in cash after that, all that we bought. So they were very thankful.
Which in shillings is a lot, because there's 2,400 shillings for every dollar. So I don't know how many shillings we gave.
We gave them almost 800,000 shillings. So an average person earns maybe a day laborer earns $1, maybe $1.50 a day. So you're talking about $30 or $50 at the most a month.
They don't have a bank account, then where could they keep that money safe, or is it safe where they live?
They have a fenced-in yard and everything. And there was no strangers present when we did that. So we did take a picture with them because we wanted to show the center that we did actually give them money. But the kids, I'm sure they're all very thankful that we did that. And we didn't announce how much money we gave them. We just handed it to them.
And also, you know, the matriarch and the patriarch, I said that right,
Sure.
are getting older. So, like, you know, what happens if they pass? Will the older children step in?
You know, it's funny you said that because he did say that God takes care of him. So as long as God's will is there, somebody will take care of the kids. So the one lady that is in college came back to meet with us. She looked like she may step up and take over because she understands the work that is going on there.
The other thing I was very impressed with Tanzania is that everyone is very well educated. Everybody speaks English, and it was very safe. So I highly recommend going to Tanzania. It was just very comfortable. Plus, Raheem made it amazing. So amazingly easy.
Yeah, we played games with them. I sat down and this beautiful child sat in my lap. I mean, it was amazing. And there It was about, you know, the unification, the awareness that we're all one. And it was touching to the point that I don't think that they were excited about some of the things, all that flour. I mean, they knew that flour is gonna, they're not gonna have to worry about bread and stuff for a long time. And then Gino did insist that they get a couple balls and, you know, a couple things for the kids, but mostly, you know, it was about sustenance. And the pastor was dumbfounded. You know, it's like so much food, you know, so that was a worry that was off his head. And I did talk to one of them that was in college. She was very articulate. And it was interesting because when I think of orphans here, there's possibly a reason why somebody's orphaned, like an accident or something. And I realized talking to her, and she was talking about the other kids, they don't talk about the reasons. And they don't talk about others, at least these children didn't talk to me about siblings. They talked about the family that they were in now. And it felt very warm and nurturing. Whether they had, you know, a lot to eat that day or, well, I think they always had something. But I bet you that night, I hope they had doubles. What is the name? Do you remember?
Don't swear, Margaret.
So we were invited to take a walk. And there, you know, it's not a national park. What do they call it? Forest Reserve. And so you pay for the opportunity. Okay, and it's about an hour. And there's a big waterfall. About an hour. Did I tell you that? 30 minutes. So look at some of the pictures and guess how many steps we got to step. How many, what was it, 240?
It was around there, but one thing I want to point, it's deceptive. You see on the right side those rocks? Well, some of them were twice as high as this step up to the here, and it's all irregular.
That's
There
what
were a
they
couple
call
places where there
steps.
weren't steps, there were roots you had to climb over.
No railings to hold on to.
Oh, no.
Because I only got,
There was Raheem and Dave to hold on to.
I couldn't do it. The rest of them went down. But the steps, some of them were like this high. There was no railings to go down. And where I was sitting, when they got down so far, they made a turn, and I couldn't see them after that. And I found out that the tour of going to the what was worse. That the climbing over and everything was worse. I checked. I was done. In fact, people younger than me coming up. I'm in my 80s. Younger than me coming up, back up, or huffing and puffing themselves. And how these other people, Margot, I don't know how she did it. I have to give her credit, but I could not do that trip. I said, you know, just show me the pictures when you get back.
We had a wonderful guide, and he had lived there with his people, and then when it was made into, what'd you call it? National Reserve, they were moved off. But he lived right outside the line. So we had, and you do need a guide, you really do need a guide to go down. And so he, after she left, then he and I became best friends. So I had a walking stick in one hand, and he did provide walking sticks for other people. And,
On the left there, that is a makeshift ladder that Margot did indeed climb up and down.
They made the turn, which you don't see in the photo.
yeah,
And they came up with that, all of that, plus when you have to climb over a tree or something.
yeah.
They had to go over a tree.
They pretended that was a ladder. And my guide was, he was skillful. Because I'd start to hesitate, and he'd say, let's finish this. And we'd just do it. And now that I look at it,
Do any of you remember the movie Shrek, when the donkey had to go over that bridge? Margot got across that bridge. That'll do, Margot. That'll do.
and I've got to say, everybody here was very, very supportive of me. And a little surprised maybe, but they were very supportive. And I have a trainer. I've had a trainer for 20 years. So I just kept telling myself, muscle memory. I must have a memory in here to do this. And coming back, and I realized there's a beautiful waterfall. And some people went in. That was really fun to watch them. There's Su Yin. Yep. Rahim.
Was it cold, honey?
It was cold. It was very cold. But they were talking about climbing up. Some of it was like the ladder, but I realized at one point, one of the hardest places climbing up, we were literally climbing up roots of a tree that must have been, I don't know, hundreds of years old. And I just felt like we were completely supported by Mother Earth. And when I pointed that out to Margot, she's like, I can do this. That's us at the end.
That is the finished photo right there.
We did it.
I wanted to say one more thing about it. That this is the guide in there?
Yeah, he's right in the middle.
He was amazed at us too. And they make their living by tips. And we tipped very well because this man, we all made it. It's which I consider the African way. You know, you make it, you all make it.
And he was a great guide. He also told us about all the plants.
Yes.
And what they use those plants for medicine and herbs, and I thought that was beautiful too.
Rahim wants to remind me. The rest of us, now we had shoes that we could walk because you had to walk in the river. You had to walk in the river a long ways. Probably up, I don't know, my knees or something. But one person didn't have the shoes to go in the water, so he went barefoot on the rocks.
And it was not sandy.
It was not sandy, it was rocks.
I got a free pedicure.
Yeah, that was a highlight. Yeah. Okay, we'll move on. Yeah. Oh, I think it took 3 hours.
It was a bonding experience.
Where did the water come from?
It's a mountain chain or range in that area. That's where the forest reserve is. So it's coming down from the cliffs above. So it's just a natural source of water. No, it's not Mount Meru. This is Napuru waterfall, but it's in that same region. Yeah.
And then just a short car ride later, so several hours later, we headed up from Mount Meru and the work that we've done there, and drove up to our first place, the Ngorongoro crater. Rahim, you probably can do more justice to what the crater is than I can.
So crater is the oldest volcanic caldera that's intact. It's about 100 square miles. That's how big it is. And it's 2 miles deep. And it has...
So I think most of you know what a caldera is, but I mean, we're talking a volcano that collapsed in. Think about how big that is, 100 square miles.
100 square miles, 2 miles descent into the crater from the rim. Yes, that's how deep it is. Yes, yeah.
And those are flamingos in the background. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
So the flamingos, so they have hundreds, and this is where nothing else grows in the lake, right? But the flamingo food, so they have hundreds and hundreds, and we got to see them fly. And I did didn't know, I didn't think about it, but I've been going to the San Diego Zoo since I was 9. I never saw a flamingo fly because they are all clipped. And I understand there's hundreds and hundreds.
The crater has also the largest diversity of animals in East Africa. It holds 25,000 mammals down there. It's a self-contained ecosystem. They live there permanently. They don't migrate. So it's got lions, they got elephants, rhinos, very rare black rhinos, and water buffalo, zebras, gazelle, giraffes, you name it, and it's in there with the exception of, they didn't say there's no cheetahs down there, but there's leopards, yeah, but besides that, there's pretty much any species of African animal you can think of is down there. And this is a collection of all our photos, so yeah.
Mainly iPhone.
They're all iPhone photos, yeah. Yeah.
So just to give you an idea, that one was actually a little ways off the distance. There are pictures, I don't know if Gino put them in here, where I literally had Sien close the window because they could have reached up.
Yeah. Yeah. This is amazing how close you get. And you're all on trails, but the animals are just doing their thing. That's their home. We're just guests. That was us at picnic lunch. Normally on a big game drive day, they give you picnic lunch and you have a picnic lunch in the park.
That was an elephant having its picnic lunch next to our
Next to
picnic lunch.
us, yeah.
With baby elephants.
Yeah.
We didn't really see any like baby elephants. I would say the youngest one would be like 8 or 10.
No, we saw some baby elephants.
Really baby.
Maybe didn't see those that day at lunch.
Oh, yeah, I probably was back at the hotel. Did you see baby?
We did see baby elephants, and I think, is that our driver on the left there? So our driver was amazing. I remember the first 5 minutes we went into Ngorongoro crater. I'm like, it's a zebra. It was like as close to Dave. And we all stopped the car. We all take pictures. We're so excited about the zebra. And he's like, don't worry, we'll see more. And literally like 5 minutes later, there were hundreds and thousands of zebras everywhere. So it was very exciting. We felt like a kid in a candy shop.
All right, so we got to experience a Maasai tribe. They're all over the Rift Valley in Eastern Africa. They're a nomadic tribe that used to be traditionally hunter-gatherers. Now they're pastoralists, but they're still nomadic. They haven't lost their way. They live in the steppes. They're called the Maasai Steppes, which is pretty much endless, vast plains of the Serengeti. Serengeti means endless plains. And these are the only native people that are allowed to live in the national parks in Tanzania because they belong there. So their way of life is still very simple, still a couple hundred years old. They make their huts out of cow dung and straw. Each hut is a family unit, so mom, dad, and kids, they all sleep in the same hut. There are little sections inside. Can't really tell really well from the pictures because it's very dark in there. They have no power, no running water. They have to go collect water and firewood. They walk for miles a day. They do that. They move with their pastures. They move with the rains. So they don't stay put in one place for more than 3 months or 4 months, and then they just rebuild and start over.
The women build the huts. The men gather it, but the women build it.
And one interesting thing about the Maasai tribe is they do drink cow blood. So with milk. That's their nutrition. Not daily, frequently. Yeah. That's how they get their nutrition. Because they live off the land. They don't farm. Yeah, they don't. I mean, they eat cow meat too, but they have cows that they raise, and then they just get the blood. They have a very specific way. They go in and just puncture the vein, gets the blood, and then seal it back up. Did you try some? No. This is their welcome dance.
We were having a jumping competition.
So this would be a traditional welcome dance for welcoming other tribes or people to your village.
My understanding, the jumping too is also to impress the women. So the higher that they jump, the higher that they jump that you saw is to impress the women. So they continue that. So that's one of the things. And they also, you'll look amongst the tribe, and you don't see a lot of like older, like seniors. They don't live very long. I believe their average lifespan is like in their 40s. And it's basically their diet and how their way of life and how they live. And they do speak English, so when you do come to these villages and you do interact with them, you're able to learn about them and experience it. And they're extremely friendly to people that come in, so it's very welcoming. So I'm glad that they had an opportunity to be a part of it and visit.
And before all the national parks and before environmental conservation, a young man that was a Maasai young man, the rite of passage was they had to go kill a lion. You were not a man till you killed a lion. That was their rite of passage. They don't do it anymore, it's just ceremonial.
But speaking of lions, one of the things I found fascinating is as you're driving around, you'll see these hedges of thorn bushes, and what that is they've collected them and created a barrier around to protect their herds and their people at night from lions and others. How many of you guys know what a cowbell is? What do you think the cowbell is used for here? It's their alarm system. So if one of the goats senses danger, it starts moving in alarm, the cowbell goes off, and all the Maasai men come out with their weapons to make sure the animal doesn't get in and attack.
I just have a few comments, and then I have a question. I'm looking at the beautiful color. I love color, so right away my eyes go to the color. Do they dye their own fabric for their attire, for their dress?
No, they used to. Now they can just buy it commercially.
Oh, okay.
They're beautifully dressed. I mean, their clothing is gorgeous.
She's saying they're beautifully dressed.
One thing I did find interesting, even though they might buy their clothing commercially, their shoes are made out of old tires. So they recycle by using tires, and then they just tie string or something on top.
That's kind of like the huaraches, the original huaraches in Mexico. The soul of the huarache is tire, and then they weave the rest of the sandal over it. The next thing you mentioned about them, since they're nomadic people and they move from one area to another, do they come back to the dwelling that they built?
No. No, they don't.
There's always a new dwelling space.
Yes, because they only use cow dung and straw, so it's natural. So when it rains, if it's not maintained, it's gone.
Okay.
So,
That's a lot of work to be building your abode everywhere you go.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
How long do they stay in one place?
About 3 to 4 months, sometimes 6 months. Just depends on how the rains and the pasture they have for their herds.
And they may be buying the cloth, but for instance, most of the men were wearing, you'd almost think of it as a short sword, a very long dagger, and they've said that they go and forge that and they make that at their different villages and things like that.
I wanted to make sure that I shared my experience. For me, it was really very ancestral that hit me really strongly. I did have a little bit of a crush on the chief. On the chief. He was, his demeanor, just his presence. But I thought, with all the things that we have in America, here are people that have made a choice to live life in their natural habitat. There's no TV, there's no cell phone, at least not that I saw. I did have a picture to show some things that they make to sell. And one of the things I bought was the warrior that's right there.
Does he look like the chief, Gino?
Maybe a little bit from the back. But it was my first opening of my heart that I started to really feel this awareness and being in a country where all I saw was me. All I saw was my color. I know how white people feel now. I have never had that experience. And so it was that, and then going here to be with this tribe, but they're doing their job. I got it, because as soon as we left, there was another group coming in. But the fact that they have found a way to keep their culture and to continue to keep the way of life that they have chosen. You know, the pictures that I showed of their inside hut, and you know, they call it the kitchen, but it's really just some fire. You know, that's where the kitchen is. And I loved, somebody asked if they dated one another, and the chief said, no, this is our family. This is our family. So if they are to date another, it has to be somebody outside of this. So it was just a remarkable experience for me to be there. Once again, just props to Raheem for setting that up. He and Curtis really, you know, I kept saying, can you do this, can you do this, can you do this? And Raheem would say, yeah, we can do that, Gino. Curtis would check, like, is that what you want to do? Yeah, okay, yeah, we could do that. So I just wanted to share that.
It was really dark in there. Yeah, so literally the hut is like maybe it's
Dirt
like-
floor.
You bend over to get into that. It looks a lot more spacious
Yeah,
in
you
the
have
picture
to
than it
bend
is.
over to enter.
Yeah, so basically it's like the size of this table but round, and they call it a bedroom, but basically it's like a section of this round thing, but there's no walls in the center, so it's open in the center with like half walls to partition the parents' room, the kids' room, yeah.
Well, look at,
Yeah.
yeah.
But on the side, those are goats. You know, goats aren't that big. That's the whole house right there that a whole family lives in.
Yeah.
And I saw them all have cell phones. I don't know if it was just the men, but they did have cell phones. Yeah. Especially calculating the prices of things. They were very fast with the calculator.
So how far were you away from your living quarters as far as this village that you were visiting? How far away?
A 5-6 hour drive. There's no living quarters. Oh, lodges.
So where we stayed in the parks, you can stay outside. It's a lot theoretically cheaper, but it can be a good 2-hour drive into the park. There are lodges that exist within the parks, and we stayed at the lodges within the park so we can maximize the time. I'd say it was probably about a 45-minute drive, hour
so
drive
this is
to
like
this village.
from when we went to this village, we were going from one national park to another. So this was on the way, and we stopped about like an hour away. They're not right next to the hotels. They're not.
We literally passed dozens of these small family unit villages. Everywhere we were driving, they have the right to live within the parks because this is their land.
Oh yeah, so the one good thing about Tanzania is they focus on conservation, and the way they do that is they incentivize tourism to the local villages around. So they employ the local villagers, they train them on cleaning the rooms, doing service in the hotels. All the help is from around, sometimes from the cities, but not from the cities that are too far. But they also employ local artists, and they bring them in to do song and dance in the evenings, and some kind of local entertainment. They try to keep everybody happy, so the people understand that they need the animals to be around for them to get the money, and vice versa. All right, this is Serengeti National Park. Serengeti literally means endless plains. This is where the biggest animal migration, mammal migration in the world happens. About 1.2 to 2 million wildebeests move around in a cycle throughout the year. And here you will see any type of big cat, lions, leopards, and babies. Yeah, lion cubs everywhere, giant prides. You can see over there, there's about 8 cubs and 3 lionesses.
And we were from here to maybe that wall. I mean, they were close.
The lioness was literally in the road.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can see a vehicle there, and you can see the lioness laying there. That was literally how close you could drive by them.
No.
I wouldn't say tame.
No.
They were very
No.
tolerant of us. We did not get out of the vehicle near there.
Well, of course they could attack, but why would they do that?
Yeah. As I said, Cien did close her window.
So what happens with this is, so a car is considered a unit. As long as your limbs and you are inside the car, you're fine. The minute you step out the car, you're fair game. So they're scared of the cars because they understand that car is bigger than them. They can't attack the car.
We tried to stay with prey, P-R-A-Y, not P-R-E-Y.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's very strict rules in the parks. You're not supposed to get out of vehicles, but there's people that do people things. And that's where you have to differentiate and think about, because there's a safety brief before you start the trips and everything. So we make sure that all our operators follow the rules and that you're safe and everybody is safe. We want everybody to come back with all their limbs.
So here, a bunch of elephants. We literally watched them walk in a line. They came across the road between some of our vehicles, so very, very close, and went down into the water hole, and they were pulling mud over their skin to protect their skin as sunscreen.
And none of the roads are paved because that way it keeps it more authentic. Dirty, but and that has a lot of holes in it, so they call it African massage because you're sometimes going like that. But yeah.
All the parks in Tanzania, they have rules that they cannot pave roads, so they're all left natural because.
So you guys saw the lines on. Just out of curiosity, does anybody know what is the most dangerous animal in Africa? Hippopotamus. They kill more people. We didn't see any moving out of the water. They were all enjoying themselves in the water, but the hippopotamus is the most dangerous.
Now you can smell these guys from a mile away. It's called the Serengeti perfume. You'll smell them before you see them.
But I did see the hippos out of the water in the early morning before the hot air balloon ride. And then you can also see them from the hot air balloon ride. But during the day, it was too hot. So they were basically pretending to be rocks.
Zonky.
There's a rare cat that very few people get to see their first time on a safari. This group was very fortunate. We saw the big 5 the first day.
Do you want to tell them what the big 5 are?
Yes, buffalo, lion, elephant, leopard, not cheetah, hippo. Yeah. Leopard is part of the big five. No, that was a cheetah. Yeah.
Leopard's coming.
A leopard was on a tree. We saw a leopard on the tree. Cheetah is a smaller cat. Yeah. That's cheetah.
So we had not seen the cheetah. I was sitting at breakfast, and I was there by myself and kind of talking to the working staff, and I go, I want to see a cheetah. Today is cheetah day. So as I leave, there's a young lady that comes up to me, and she goes, we saw a cheetah kill. I was like, really? It's amazing how exciting that was for me. So she showed me the video. She had shot a video on her phone. It was a McDonald's, which Raheem called the gazelles. They are the McDonald's of, because everybody eats them.
Impalas.
And they're fast food.
And so she showed me a video of the cheetah attacking it, dragging it back, and the last shot I love because the cheetah was looking out at them, holding her prey like, what? What you gonna do? And you know, it's nature. So for me, it was really beautiful in its natural habitats.
So Raheem mentioned it was pretty rare for us to be able to see the big five. One of the things I would say, and this is credit to Raheem and Curtis, is the value of having a good company, because they went and scouted out and worked with and found a good safari company. And what we realized is our guide, when we were going, everybody knew him, and he was coordinating across with all the other guides to figure out where to go and to be able to drive to those spots and working with them because they got along very well. He'd been doing it for over a decade.
And another reason those Impala are called McDonald's is that if you see them from the behind, they have like an M on their butt. So these are obviously giraffes that we saw. Somebody remember which bird it was on the right? A hawk of some sort.
And I think this is it was a rare black-faced giraffe too.
Oh, the black-faced giraffe, yes. I can't remember why it was black. Somebody?
Old.
Oh, he's old, yes. And so these are pretty rare.
The older they are, the darker they become.
So this is our hotel swimming pool and the water buffalo. This was the hotel where you couldn't leave your room at night without calling for a guard to come get you.
It's a Cape Buffalo. I loved all of our hotels, but this one was especially cool. It was like a hut, like a round hut, but it was magnificent. There was a first floor. You either stayed on the first floor or the second floor, but it was like integrated into nature.
Yeah, all the lodges in Tanzania that are inside the park are required to blend in and use natural material as much as possible, with the exception of glass, but everything else has to come from the surrounding area. There's a croc.
Nile crocodile.
Okay, this is Zanzibar.
Any other questions about Serengeti before we leave the Serengeti? Excellent.
So Zanzibar is an island off of the east coast. I don't know, Raheem, what's the exact government they call it? Because it's a cooperative government between Tanzania and Zanzibar.
It's called a semi-autonomous government. So Zanzibar is part of Tanzania. Zanzibar used to be independent, and then they became a union with Tanzania. So it used to be Tanganyika and Zanzibar, and then when they got united together, they are called Tanzania. And that happened in 1964. But before that, Zanzibar was under the control of the Sultan of Oman for a couple hundred years. The Sultan of Oman found out early in the 1500s that spice trade and slave trade was very economical, or not economical, but very profitable, lucrative. Thank you. Profitable and lucrative. So he moved the Sultan, his whole sultanate from Oman, from Muscat to Zanzibar, and started building Zanzibar up. They started growing all the spices, sugarcane, and they started getting all the slaves from the interior of Africa, some as far as Congo. They would walk them with the ivory and walk them for at least 2,500 to 3,000 miles to get to the shore of Eastern Africa, and then put them on ships to bring them to Zanzibar, and then from there to the Arab world and the rest of the world, wherever they were sending them to. Zanzibar is very, very multicultural because of the influences they had. It's not just Arab, it's Indian, it's Portuguese, it is British, it is German, it has seen all kinds of different. World War I, before World War I, they were a German protectorate. After World War I, they stayed German protectorate. The war was over, then they were a British protectorate. But still, the Sultan of Oman ruled it. But British didn't interfere with anything till they asked him to stop the slave trade, and he wouldn't do it. And then that's when they had the war, and the Sultan didn't want to leave, and there was a bloody revolution, and Zanzibar got independence that way. But
I think it was the shortest war in history.
yeah, because the British helped the locals to overthrow. 1961. Yeah. This is the hot air balloon.
Barbara, you want to say anything about the hot air balloon? Yes, to get into the hot air balloon, you start by what they call astronaut position. So you're laying down on the ground, and then the balloon will lift you up. Barbara, is there anything you want to say about the balloon or Zanzibar?
That was really cool. I was kind of leery of that, but really it's not as bad as as you think it is. It's just getting in, you're laying down, and then it's slowly, the next thing you know, you're upright. So it was fun to see, and we saw quite a few things. We went at sunrise, Susan and even myself, we went to see the sunrise on the Serengeti, and I don't know, has anybody got pictures of the sunrise on this? Oh yeah, there we are, there.
Gino to the rescue.
Literally endless plains, and the balloon ride is on the treetops. That's
a hippo.
That's a hippo. When we were headed to the balloon at night, we saw the hippo out of the water. This is hippos from the air.
We had to leave at about 4:30 in the morning to, or it was earlier than that, wasn't it?
Yeah, about 4:30. So you're at the balloon launch site at 5:30. They get you up right before sunrise or during sunrise, and it's the most spectacular sight in the world.
And they also...
From the group, only 3 of us went.
I wanted to sleep. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, too early. Yeah.
It's also a little pricey.
Yeah. The balloon ride is extra. Yeah.
And they serve the most delicious tea, too. Speaking of tea, it's not the same tea, but there is Zanzibar tea in the back. Yes, there was champagne. So after the balloon ride, since you got up so early, they also serve you this most delicious breakfast that's prepared right there in the middle of the Serengeti.
I was just going to share from my balloon experience when I went about a year ago. Those balloons hold about 16 people. So there's 4 different pods that you get in. That's why you first get in it laying down, because there's so many people in it. They have to inflate the balloon to basically lift you up and get you out of there. But also, I'm not too keen on heights. And I was like, I don't know if I want to do this or not. It's the most incredible experience. It's so peaceful, and it just drifts high enough above the treetops And it's so that you can have an amazing view of all the animals and be able to just look down and see them in their natural habitat roaming around. And you see all kinds of different things, and you can see it here. And usually there's a couple that are up going at the same time. So as you're sailing across the Serengeti, you have your partner balloon, which that appears to be, or that might be a self-portrait, because they have a GoPro camera that they throw out to get a really good picture. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. And the breakfast is amazing. I agree with you on that.
So for my 40th, I went on a hot air balloon in Del Mar, and I thought it would be so peaceful. It was so noisy. It was like, and then it's quiet. To get the balloon up. So you're saying yours was peaceful?
Yeah, so
So
what
how do
do,
they keep the balloon up?
they don't blast the hot air all the time. Once they fill it up where they want to be, they keep it. So because if they keep on blasting it, you're scaring the animals away. That's why these don't go very high. They go high a couple of times to show you the landscape. They'll go up and then they'll let you start floating back down, and then they'll navigate. They're very skillful with that.
I'm standing right next to one of the things, you know, and it wasn't.
So I heard you now have your first next tour customer.
Yeah, this is part of Zanzibar. So the city is called Stone Town. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, because when they built the town, it was all limestone and coral and shells and whatever. So it's historic. It's very narrow streets. It's cobblestone. It is left the way it was. A lot of the buildings had fallen into disrepair, but they're now reviving them and bringing them to their original glory days. We had a lunch at one of the buildings. The building had been in the family for almost 150 years. And they owned the building, and the restaurant was on top. That you could see the whole view of the harbor and everything else around it. This is us on a boat.
Is Spice Town in there somewhere, Gino? Is Spice Town? Is that later? Okay. Oh, where are we headed in this boat?
Where we're going to Prison Island.
There's Gino in the water.
So it's called Prison Island because they originally were building a large prison there, but then they ended up using it as a quarantine facility for all the people who were coming in and out. And so that was the main use of it, and as a hospital at one point. Then these tortoises, which are the second largest tortoise species in the world, were gifted to Zanzibar, and they have a refuge here. So the oldest tortoise they had there is 200 years old.
So those tortoises are from the Seychelles.
On the roads are cars and trucks. There are also people in carts with oxen. And so I wanted to take a picture, but the car's going fast. So the first part, I got the front of the oxen. Next time I got the end of it. I never got the middle of it.
So we had to fuse the picture for her.
Thank you.
No, this isn't for...
One thing that I've been telling people about that really impressed me is they have roads, regular roads, you know, especially if you're near cities and stuff. They do not have lines separating the lanes. They drive like the English do on the left side, but there are no lanes. So sometimes people are doing some, you know, sharing the road, but what I picked up, what I really feel is that it's not, this is my lane, you know, I'm getting there in front of you. That's not the experience that I had anyway. You see everybody going, but they're all going, and it's more like, let's all get there. And it's a neat experience. Sometimes, because I like to sit in the front, sometimes I shut my eyes. I think we all did, right? Because it's amazing. I never saw an accident. But I don't know why I didn't see an accident. Oh, and, yeah.
And not only that, in fact, there's no lanes marked. There's no lanes marked. They have scooters and bicycles and these, what are those things with the three wheels? In and out, in and out. I would just close my eyes because it just looked like they were gonna come right at you. It's amazing. I asked the driver, why isn't there an accident every couple of minutes? And well, you know, we all know how to drive, and so we just go in. And they do, they just weave in and out, in and out. And no stoplights, very few stoplights, only like what, the major.
Well, and they're called optional.
Optional.
Recommendation. It's a recommendation that you stop, and a lot of people don't.
Driven in Tanzania or in Zanzibar.
I'm sure they have less accident than we do.
Yeah, they don't have that many accidents.
It's amazing. It's called organized chaos.
Yeah, it's like going to Mexico City, same thing.
Yeah, and it's a shared understanding. Let's all get there, whether you're on an oxen or wherever.
Oh, spices. I was just going to share your spices, Gino, up here. So Gino bought just a few spices. So feel free to smell these. But yeah, they were so fresh because they grow them right there. And you want to talk about Spice Town? I didn't make it there, so.
The Spice Farm. Gino, can you talk about the Spice Farm?
We all know spices come from a plant, but to actually see a tree that is a spice, which was the cinnamon tree. And they use every bit of that cinnamon tree. And the bark, he took a piece of it and said, smell this. And he said, do you know what they use this for? And we were looking at one another. Vicks Vapor Rub. I was like, what? So it was amazing. I mean, we saw vanilla, nutmeg.
That is turmeric right there.
That's turmeric. I couldn't find the video, but there was a wonderful man, Butterfly, but I think his name was Butterfly. He climbed up this tree that had to be like
a coconut tree, about 60 to 80 feet.
He climbed up that tree, got that coconut. It was while he was climbing, and came back down, and we had fresh coconut water and the meat of the coconut. It was amazing. That spice farm was absolutely amazing. So yeah, I bought some spices from the store, but that little hut there is one of the ones I bought off of the spice farm. It was really quite beautiful. All right.
And when I went, because I was with them, it's like, oh, I don't even cook. Why am I going? I had a great time smelling everything, and then we were in a competition about, but some of the things that I knew got 2 points. She got 5 points, but it was amazing.
I didn't get no points.
But it was amazing too.
They were not nice to me. They wouldn't let me play.
That's because you got all the answers. And then we all bought the spices. And I actually came home, I didn't keep them because I said I don't cook, but I gave them as gifts, and they're great gifts.
Gina, you want to come here and talk? It's the, so this is Zanzibar. This is the site of the slave market. They built a church on top of it. So, but these were, so so where the altar is where the tree was, where the slaves would be tied to for auction and whipped. So the thing was, the harder they whipped you, and if you didn't let out a scream or shout in pain, you were strong, and you'd get more money. So they whipped you harder and harder.
Yeah.
And so where the site of the tree or the rock was for the auction, but this is an artist's rendering honoring those slaves. Those two pictures before this one you saw was where they kept them underneath. These were their holding tanks. There was it's very dark. There's nothing there, and it was just all marsh on the bottom, and they were just chained, so they were open to weather and mosquitoes, and a lot of them, and they didn't have bathrooms, so they just had to do whatever they were doing, laying there while they were tied up.
So for me, one of the reasons I wanted to go to Zanzibar was a couple of years ago when I took people to Alabama. We went to Brian Stevenson's Legacy Museum. And when you walk into the very beginning of the Legacy Museum, there is a beach scene that an African artist created. And it was beautiful, but I did not make the connection at the time. It wasn't until later that I found out that it was Zanzibar, which was one of the most used ports for slave ships. And so, you know, everywhere we travel, history is always a big part of it for me, and I hope to share that. And so this was, it was emotional to see where they were kept and how they were stored. But out of all of this, and I think at the very end, Margot encouraged me. I wrote a song while I was there. And initially, I was only going to share it with a few people. But at the end of our close, I will share the song that came through me. The song is called Ancestors' Love. And so it really opened my heart wider to understand that history is not about who's right or wrong, but it is about us recognizing how we can grow and how we can elevate the mistakes, the misunderstandings, and the ignorance so that no one else has to repeat it again. And so for that reason, here in America, as we're trying to, as some are trying to shut down our museums or change them or change history, it's important that we stay involved. And one of the ways I have found to do that is to share with my family, to share with my friends, to start having conversations. That's what we used to do in the old days. At least that's what they told me. They would tell stories. And so we have relied so much on the media to be the storyteller. We must pick that back up, I think, and start telling the stories to our families, to our loved ones, to our little ones, so that they know where they come from. So yeah, this was quite a moment for me to be there. I could feel their presence, to be in that space, to see grown shoved into something that a child would not want to even be in. You know, so, you know, part of history is not all yay, 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 but knowledge is. Knowledge is power. So we end on a beautiful note. Suyit's birthday party! They sang to her. Raheem bought a beautiful cake that lit up like 4th of July. We had a beautiful night. We had, what type of food did we have that night?
It was it Turkish?
Turkish, right.
There was a story there.
There was.
So at the restaurant, they thank you for the cake, and Raheem had to run to the airport, so he's like staying for the cake, and then he ran off. But also the resort and the hotel, they were wonderful. First of all the staff, like Raheem said, are all locals, but they are the most friendly people at every single lodge we stayed at. They were very, very kind and very welcoming. And then for my birthday, they also had made like towel cake. They made a cake out of towels on my bed, and they put flowers on the bed, and it was very special. So thank you.
In close, I'm going to share Ancestors' Love. And this is really very much how it came through. At first, I was trying to tweak it and do everything to it, and then I was like, let it be. This is what Spirit blessed through you. Walk with the ancestors, sing love. Walk with the ancestors, sing love. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Walk with my ancestors, I sing love. I walk with my ancestors, and I sing love. Thank you, blessings upon heal our hearts. Walk with the ancestors and sing love. Walk with the ancestors and sing love. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Open my heart and love. Feel my ancestors. Give grace. Feel my ancestors and give grace. Thank you, blessing upon. Open my heart in love. Walk with my ancestors. See you. Walk with my ancestors. See you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Open my heart and let love. Thank you all for coming out tonight. We have wonderful tea and treats. I know it was raining, and I am so blessed that all of you came out tonight to support this. So awesome. Thank you.
And can I, thank you. And also tomorrow night, if you'd love to come back, me and Reverend Donna are giving messages from beyond. And I promise everyone that comes will have a message. this